I want to keep this as anonymous as possible, not out of shame, but out of trauma. This left marks on me. Physical ones, yes, but mostly psychological. To this day, I have panic attacks when I hear the sound of a key turning in a lock. I'm changing all names, places, and identifying details. If someone reads this and recognizes something, it's not coincidence, it's intentional to protect me. I've always been quiet. Since childhood, my parents thought I was too thoughtful. My teachers said I lived in my own world. In school, I was diagnosed with traits of social anxiety and placed in group therapy sessions with the school psychologist. I just wanted to disappear. And for years, I succeeded. In high school, I became invisible on purpose. I was never the popular kid, not the nerd, not the weird one, just the one nobody noticed. And that worked fine for me. But at 24, things changed. I'd moved out, landed a stable job, programmer, remote, good salary, bought a small apartment, but mine, facing the park, balcony, hardwood floors, silence. It was perfect, or at least it was, until her. I met Natalie at a tech event, one of those your company pays for so you can pretend it's networking. She was a graphic designer, talked fast, laughed loud, wore black-rimmed glasses, and always had coffee in hand. We hit it off, exchanged contacts, scheduled coffee, then dinner, then a movie. And in less than a month, we were dating. At first, it was good. She made me laugh, pulled me out of the house, complimented me too much. "You're so smart. You're so different from everyone else. No one understands me like you do." I, who had always been underestimated, felt seen. But the problem started when seen turned into watched. She wanted to know where I was all the time. If I took 5 minutes to reply, she'd send 3 messages in a row. "You alive?" Then she started calling me in the middle of work just to hear my voice. Then she demanded I share my location 24/7. Said it was for safety. I told her I didn't like it, but I gave in. After all, I had nothing to hide, and deep down, I thought it was just her insecurity. Big mistake. A month later, I was at my friend Leo's place, playing video games, eating pizza, normal Saturday night stuff. At 10 p.m., I got a call from her. I didn't answer. At 10:07 p.m., she showed up at Leo's front door. She opened it. She walked in without asking, looked at me and said, in front of everyone, "Are you ignoring me on purpose? I saw you've been here since 8 p.m. Why didn't you answer?" I left with her. To avoid embarrassing Leo, we had an argument in the car. She wanted to go to my place. I said no. She yelled. I lowered my head. I went home alone. At home, I sent a message. "I need space. Don't look for me for a few days." She called 17 times, sent 42 messages. At 3 a.m., she showed up at my door, knocking, screaming, crying, threatening to jump off the balcony. My neighbor called the police. She left, but not before throwing a potted plant onto the hallway floor. The next day, I turned off location sharing. She lost it, sent screenshots of where I'd been for the past 3 days, as if she'd tracked my phone through another app. Said I was betraying her trust. I replied, "Natalie, this is over. You scare me. I'm blocking you." And I did. I thought, it's over. But it wasn't. A week later, I was home alone watching a documentary about sharks. Yes, I like those. When I heard click, a dry sound coming from the hallway, I froze. My apartment only has 2 rooms besides the living room, bedroom and bathroom. The hallway connects the front door to the bedroom, and there's a sliding door separating the living room from the hallway. I always keep that door closed at night. It was open. I grabbed my phone, called 190. I spoke loudly, on purpose. My ex is inside my apartment. I think she came in through the balcony. I got up from the couch, went to the kitchen, grabbed an iron skillet. It was the closest thing I had, and I started searching the apartment. Nothing in the bathroom, nothing in the closet, nothing under the bed. But the balcony window was slightly open, and there were muddy footprints on the floor, as if someone had walked in with dirty shoes. The police arrived in 8 minutes. 2 officers, 1 man, 1 woman, searched everywhere. No one. But the woman whispered to me, "Someone was here, and not long ago." I stayed home, but locked everything. Slept with the skillet next to my bed, and woke up at 4:17 a.m. because my phone vibrated. It was an unknown number. Messages. Lots of them. "Sorry for coming in. I just wanted to watch you sleep. You're so beautiful when you sleep. Why did you block me? I love you." I didn't call. I just replied, "You broke into my home. That's a crime. Never contact me again." 2 seconds later, I heard a noise inside the bedroom closet. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't a rat. It was breathing. Before I could move, the closet door opened. She was there, on her knees, red eyes, a pocket knife in her hand. I screamed and ran out of the room. She chased me. I pushed the door. She slammed into it hard. I heard the knife scraping against the wood, trying to stab through. Instead of yelling, "Get out," I shouted, "Natalie, I still love you. Please stop." She stopped, stayed silent for 3 seconds, then whispered, "Is that true?" "Yes, but I need time. Give me time." I asked her to throw the knife away. She hesitated, but threw it. I heard the metallic clink on the floor. I opened the door and pushed her hard. She fell, started screaming, crying, thrashing. I jumped on top of her, holding her arms down while talking to the police who were still on the line. They arrived in 4 minutes, broke down the front door, stormed in like an action movie. She was handcuffed on my living room floor, sobbing, saying she just wanted to be loved. I went to the hospital for a forensic exam, even without injuries, filed a police report, got a restraining order the same day. The legal process lasted 11 months. She was convicted of unlawful entry, aggravated threat, and illegal possession of a bladed weapon. She's currently serving her sentence under semi-open regime. I moved, changed cities, changed phone numbers, changed my name on social media, even changed my hair color, just to feel different. To this day, when I hear someone trying to unlock a door, my body goes into full alert. When I see someone standing in front of my building for more than 2 minutes, my heart races. When I get a message from an unknown number, I wait hours before opening it. Natalie wasn't evil. She was sick, and I was blind out of neediness, insecurity, thinking someone so intense could only want me because there was something special about me. But there was nothing special, only vulnerability, and she smelled it like a predator. Telling this here, even without names, faces, or locations, is the first time I've felt light. Not healed, but light. If you're reading this and going through something similar, don't wait for the closet. Don't wait for the knife. Run the first time you feel love turning into prison. Because sometimes the person who says they love you is the same one who'll lock you in the dark and throw away the key. When I was 22, I started seeing a guy I met through a dating app. His name was Hunter. We went out about 4 times over the course of just over a month. At first, everything seemed normal. Our first date was a quick coffee, less than an hour, more like a screening to make sure he seemed like a balanced person. Our second date was at a nearby bar for a few drinks. We both got slightly tipsy, and it was a pleasant time. The third date was dinner, and that's when I started questioning things. I wondered whether there was real chemistry between us, or if I just felt something slightly off about his personality. The date ended with a kiss, the first and only one we ever shared. I convinced myself that since I let him kiss me, things were going well. It was only a few weeks later that we had our fourth and final date. We went for drinks again, but this time I went in with less enthusiasm and paid closer attention to small details in his behavior, details I realized were kind of unusual. It's hard to explain exactly what I mean, but some of his mannerisms gave off antisocial and almost creepy vibes. On this date, he started drinking too much and became overly affectionate, trying to kiss me multiple times. I'm not a fan of public displays of affection, especially when we're sitting in a bar with other people around. I politely declined his advances, and a few minutes later I mentioned I was tired, strongly hinting that we should leave. He asked for the check, paid, and then we grabbed our coats and left. As we walked toward our cars, he stopped and, very directly, asked if we could go back to his place together. I replied, "Not tonight, I'm tired and have work tomorrow," which was a lie. Surprisingly, he kept pushing, saying things like, "I'll drive you to work tomorrow." I thought that was ridiculous, drunk or not. I also didn't like the idea of him driving drunk even to his own home. At that moment, I decided I wouldn't see him again. I went to my car, parked in the lot across the street, and started driving home slowly. I'd had a few drinks. I wasn't drunk, but I was being very cautious. I was also hyper-aware of my surroundings, scanning for cops. Maybe that's why I noticed that the same car was behind me, even after I'd made at least 3 turns. At a certain traffic light, I realized it looked like Hunter's car. I texted him, "Are you following me?" He replied quickly, "Yes, I just want to make sure you get home safely." I called him, but he didn't answer. That was very weird and, frankly, terrifying. I pulled over and sent another message. "Stop following me, I'm fine." He stopped in the middle of the road for a second. I assumed he was reading my text, and then drove on. He didn't reply. Not until I got home and was already in bed. Then he sent, "Oh no, did the vibe die?" Less than 2 hours later, he sent me just a question mark. Period. I decided to reply before things escalated. I wrote, "Hey, I really enjoyed getting to know you, but I think our personalities just don't match that well. Also, I'm trying to focus on myself right now. I hope you understand." That's when the angry messages started pouring in. The worst one saying, "No, I don't understand. You led me on for 4 dates just to tell me this? How about you pay me back half of everything I spent on you?" There were other furious messages containing personal information, so I won't reproduce them here, but they were enough to make me block him immediately. I thought that would be the end, but I was wrong. I started getting unidentified calls, non-stop. I ignored them all until he finally seemed to get the message and stopped. The next day, when my parents weren't home, I came back from work and found a bouquet of flowers at the front door, along with a card. It was an apology from Hunter, begging for a second chance. He had somehow found out where I lived. That deeply disturbed me. In his head, maybe he thought it would seem charming or romantic, but in reality, it was extremely alarming. I sent one long, definitive message. "Please do not contact me again. Never show up at my house again, or I will file for a restraining order." I kept his number blocked so I wouldn't see any replies. I thought things would be over now, but I couldn't have been more wrong. It wasn't long before I was home alone one night. My parents' house is big, and my room is in a loft, the highest point in the house.
I woke up in the middle of the night to something. I wasn't sure what at first, but I felt like I was hearing noises from downstairs. I tried to listen carefully. Then I clearly heard a door opening, not from outside, but from inside the house. One of the upstairs doors. No one should have been home that night. Even though I was still groggy from sleep, my brain screamed, "Intruder!" I crawled out of bed and hid under it. I called 190 and texted my entire family asking, "Who's home?" I heard distant noises. They seemed to come from another room. Then my bedroom door opened. Footsteps climbed the carpeted stairs, and when they reached the top step, silence. The entire room was carpeted, so I couldn't hear footsteps. But then I heard the drawers beside my bed being opened, one by one. I covered my mouth with my hands to muffle my breathing. My heart pounded so hard I feared he could hear it. Then I heard a male voice whisper, "Holy shit." At that moment I thought, wait, that sounded like Hunter's voice. I didn't move. I prayed my phone wouldn't get any notifications. I heard more noises. He was rummaging through my entire dresser. Then I felt and heard the bed shift. He had sat down on it. I was staring directly at the outline of two shoes, visible even in the dark beneath the bed skirt. I don't know what he was doing there, but he sat there for at least 2 or 3 minutes. Then he stood up and whispered, "Son of a bitch." I heard the drawers being closed, then footsteps going back down the stairs, the door closing, and then sounds of footsteps heading toward the living room. Only then did I call 190 again and kept whispering just in case. I stayed on the phone, hidden under the bed, for 10 to 15 minutes until one of the officers arrived. I went downstairs to meet him at the front door, and even that felt tense. After letting him in, I told him everything he didn't already know from the call. He responded calmly, swept the house, and during that, another officer arrived, a woman, who also helped with the investigation. The investigation revealed that all the windows in the house were unlocked, and one of them in the dining room was large enough for someone to slip through, even though no one would ever imagine someone squeezing between the bushes in front of the window and climbing in. I gave a verbal statement, received a police report number, and the officers left. When my parents came home the next day, they already knew everything, from my texts and calls. We went together to the police station with the report number and handed over all possible information. Screenshots of the messages, including the one where he admitted to following me. They said they'd investigate, but without concrete proof he'd entered the house, the case was complicated. I think it lost momentum precisely due to lack of direct evidence. Still, I successfully obtained a restraining order against him. I was advised to never formally accuse him of breaking and entering and to never contact him again. Thankfully, he didn't try anything after that. But from that moment until the day I moved out of my parents' house, I never felt safe again. I had the feeling he was lurking nearby, and even today, sometimes I'm afraid he'll find out where I live now.
It all started when I was in 6th grade. It was science fair week, the kind where kids set up projects with lemon batteries, vinegar volcanoes, and colorful posters. I always stayed late helping arrange the tables because I loved sticking star stickers on the featured projects, and because at the end, the teacher gave us homemade cookies. That's when I'd see him, Tyler. He was from class 6B. He'd never spoken to me before, but during science fair week, he'd always show up to help. In reality, he'd just hang around, laughing loudly at other people's jokes, but always glancing at me out of the corner of his eye. He never said anything weird, never touched me, never bothered me. At least, not at first. Until one Wednesday, after we'd finished putting away the last boxes, one of the girls from my class, Gabi,
came running up to me with a huge grin and whispered, "Someone left you a note in your locker. It's from Tyler. He's into you." I blushed, not because I liked him. I barely even knew his name, but because, well, I was 12. A mysterious note felt like a mini Disney romance movie. When I opened my locker, there it was. A piece of paper folded into quarters with my name written in cut-out newspaper letters, like something out of an old-school kidnapping movie. Inside, it read, "You're the only one who makes me truly smile. Wanna hang out after the fair? Just us two?" It was weird, but I thought it was cute. Or at least I pretended to. That night, I got a message on Messenger, the app we use to plan Roblox games and send cat stickers. It was him. "Saw you read the note." I replied, awkwardly, "Oh, yeah, thanks. It was nice." He responded immediately, "Nice. That's it?" I almost had a panic attack figuring out how to give it to you. "You have no idea what I do for you." The typing bubbles wouldn't stop. He sent 3 more messages in a row, all long, all filled with lines like, "You ignore me at recess, but I see you laughing with your friends. Why don't you laugh with me? I've waited for you at the school gate 3 times. You always leave in a hurry. Will you ever really notice me?" My stomach twisted. I replied, trying to be kind, "Tyler, you seem nice, but I'm not into dating right now. Can we just be friends?" He took 27 minutes to reply. Yes, I was watching. Friends? After everything I've done? You're playing with me. The next day, everything got worse. He started showing up near my locker between classes. He didn't talk to me. He'd just lean against the wall, staring. Once he threw a chewed piece of gum in my direction, accidentally, of course. Another time, he drew a picture of me on his classroom's whiteboard, circled it with a heart, and wrote, "My future wife." I told my teacher. She said to just ignore him, that he only wanted attention. But I couldn't ignore it, because on Friday, when I left school, he was there, standing in front of the gate with a crooked smile. And I live just 3 blocks away. Everyone knows that. I ran home, locked the door, told my mom. She called the school. They scheduled a meeting with the counselor. The counselor said, "Oh, this is just a kid with a crush. He just doesn't know how to express himself properly. Give it time, he'll forget." Forget? On Monday, I found an envelope taped to my math notebook. Inside was a photo of me, taken through the classroom window. My hair was messy, I was in uniform, looking at the board. On the back, he'd written, "This is my favorite. I took it yesterday. You didn't even notice." I started trembling. How did he get that photo? Why didn't I see him? That week, the messages didn't stop. They came at 7 a.m., during class, at midnight. "Today, you're wearing the blue shirt. It looks beautiful on you. I saw you get on the bus. I'm following you on my bike. Don't look back. Why did you block me in the game? I just wanted to play with you." I blocked him on Messenger, on Instagram, everywhere. I thought, it's over. But it wasn't. On Wednesday night, my parents went to dinner at my aunt and uncle's house. I stayed home, with permission, with my phone, with ordered pizza. I was watching a movie on my laptop, in pajamas, lights off, when I heard thump. Something hit my bedroom window. I thought,
bird. But then it came again. Thump, thump, thump. I got up slowly, pulled back the curtain, and almost screamed. It was him, Tyler, in the backyard, standing on the neighbor's fence, throwing little rocks at my window. He was holding his phone with the flashlight on, shining it directly at my face, as if to make sure I saw him. He waved, smiled, and whispered loudly, "Open the window. I just want to talk." I ran to the hallway, locked my bedroom door, called my dad, then called 190. I sat on the floor, back against the door, shaking until I heard the siren. The police came. He had run off, but he left something on the ground. A birthday card. My birthday was still 2 months away. He'd already bought it. Inside, it read, "I'm going to kiss you on your birthday, no matter what you do." The next day, my mom went to the school with the card, the screenshots, everything. She demanded he be suspended. The principal agreed. For 3 days. 3 days. He came back like nothing had happened, kept staring at me, kept leaving notes, kept whispering with his friends when I walked by. I never felt safe at school again. I never walked home alone again. I never opened my curtains at night without first checking to see if someone was out there. And the worst part? Years later, I found out that counselor still works at the same school. And Tyler? He became a recess monitor.